Hey guys, welcome back to a tutorial. On this step, we're going to finish with the colors on our sticker designs. I'll be using my third design to show you guys this step, so let's begin. As you can see, the base colors are completely done in this one. Each color section is on its own layer, and now I can start adding some gradients, shadows, and lighting, which will give the design some volume and more strength. Let's start by selecting the blue color on the mask. A quick tip, when using the pointer, be sure to tick the box on the top bar which reads Auto Select. This will make it easier to switch between layers with just a click instead of just looking for them in the layer panel. Now, once we have selected our desired layer, we create a new layer on top of it. We right-click it and go to Create Clipping Mask. What this will do is limit the contents of this layer to the one that is beneath it, which means that there will be nothing that escapes the color sector that we already have, making this step much easier. Let's start with a gradient. Select the gradient tool, which is located in the same place as the bucket tool. If you can't see it, just click and hold over the bucket tool and it will appear on the side. Once you have it selected, go to the top bar and double-click the gradient color. Here we can edit the desired color. So we are going to take a sample from the blue mask and tweak it a bit, so we can get a different blue tone. Once the color is ready, set the layer setting to multiply and reduce its opacity a bit. Drag the gradient handle upwards over the blue color and you will see the gradient taking some effect over the blue tone, giving it a nice gradient. Once you are satisfied with the gradient tone, we are going to add some shadows to the mask. Create a new layer on top of the gradient one, and just as we did with the base color, get the lasso tool and start making some sections over the mask color. When adding shadows, be sure to think of the image as a 3D object, rather than a 2D one, which means that there are parts of the object which are on top of one another, and thus create shadows when affected by light. For example, the horns on the mask are receiving light from above, which results in shadows coming down over the mask's eyes. The same happens with the big nose, which casts a shadow over the chin. After being done with the lasso tool, select the bucket tool and using one of the darker blue tones, fill the spaces in with a click. Once that is done, tweak the opacity a bit and set the layer to multiply, so it keeps the gradient effect under the shadow layer. These are the basics for the shadows. Now we are moving on to the lighting. Just as we did with the previous layers, we are creating one more layer on top of these two and making it into a clipping mask. Afterwards, we will select a color based on the base color we are working on. In this case, it is an almost white light blue tone, which will be used for the lighting. Unlike the shadow layer, I prefer to work the light layer without the lasso and only using the brush. This is because lights are mainly strokes rather than shapes as the shadows are. We will take into account the position of the shadows that we worked on to decide the placement of the lighting. In this case, it's going to come from above, so any volume that we want to make pop out will have some lighting over it. This is the basic 3 steps for adding volume with color. I'll show you how it's applied to the rest of the illustration. You'll see that every part follows the same steps, just with different colors. Keep in mind that to make a certain part of your illustration pop out more than the others, you can add more lighting or more contrast between them. This will make it stand out even more than the rest. In this case, the most contrast is happening in the mask, while in the rest of the body and other elements it's toned down a bit. Be sure to apply these steps to every element in the design. Otherwise, parts of it will end up looking flat and as a result incomplete. Finally, I like doing a small edit to the line art where I add some faint color to it so it blends better with the colors. Double-click the liner layer and a window will pop out. There you have to select the Gradient Overlay option, where you will be able to add a gradient effect to the liner. I'd suggest adding a gradient that goes from a really dark magenta color to a really dark purple color. It's not too noticeable, but it does affect the general design in a positive way. So that's the end of the sticker design steps. Next thing we will be doing is working a quick trace around the designs in Adobe Illustrator, so the designs are ready for die cut when sent for printing. This will give your stickers a more professional look when sold or when given out for self-promotion. I'll see you guys in the next one.